informational items and discussion items. They're not action items. So not looking for any votes or direction per se, but I would like to be able to have a dialogue on it. So go ahead.
Need clarification on something.
I do.
Yeah, okay.
I don't understand how we can have much impact on relocation and redevelopment of the corporate yard.
So this is staff's direction, not yours. So there are some items in here which the commission has already basically said that it's part of its own strategic plan. There are other items as well.
So these are not items for us in particular.
No, these are not particular to you.
No, that helps a lot. I didn't see that we were housing and community and economic development.
But there's a line item in there that
Yeah,
that
there
overlaps
is.
into what, yeah.
Okay,
It all comes from this major top.
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of a touch and base on your.
I filtered out a bunch of, I mean, obviously this is number 6 and number 8 under community development. There were 8 items total, but I took out items 1 through 5 and 7 because they really had nothing to do with what we did here.
Other questions?
One on their 6.01 business outreach program and also on the ambassador program, you have a framework envisioned for that? How's that going to, what does that look like and
Well,
how expected to work?
that's item B. So if there's no other questions on this, then we can move right into that.
Okay, all right, we can move on to item D, which is discussion of business outreach and business ambassador programs.
Okay. So let me start with some of the things we've been doing. And so, like I said, Laura's been tasked with beginning this business outreach program. And so we've only had, how long has it been now, Laura? About 3 months now? Okay, a little bit short of 3 months. So we started doing some business outreach. Do you want to talk about what you've been doing just
Sure.
along Broadway?
So far, I've introduced myself to all the businesses on Broadway. And during the Walk of Fame celebration, I handed out notices, so just getting myself back in there, saying hello, and there was a change to the Walk of Fame closure back in Broadway. So again, I went in there and I notified all the business owners of how their business could potentially be affected with that closure. And I'm also hosting a community meeting for all the business owners on Broadway on 2/15. From 5:30 to 6:30 at Seaside Creative Office. And I also have reestablished the monthly newsletter. So February went up. So that's what I did.
She's also working on updating the departmental website to reorganize. Some of the information is out of date or not very well organized at the moment. And she's also going to be going to a training next month on business retention and expansion from the International Economic Development Council. And after that, we're going to see if we can possibly look at getting some help with software tools, help us track information and what's going on. As part of all this, but what I wanted to, that's, you asked where we were at. So that's where we're at. Yes.
again, the newsletter is I think a useful tool to the extent that businesses are reading it. I have not seen it, and I'd like to be included on the mailing list when we send it out to businesses, and maybe the rest of us will too.
Sure.
Yeah, I think if you put us on the distribution list for that, I think that would be beneficial for the newsletter. Also, that gathering that you're having for the business owners, when was that again?
It's going to be February 15th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m.
Be able to make it, but
Might be good to be kind of like a fly on the wall, just.
Yeah.
Looking.
if anybody can attend, that'd be great. I won't be able to. I have a meeting that starts at 6, so I need to be out. So.
Which actually is where I wanted to kind of segue into, which is, last time we met, what I heard from the commissioners was a desire to, actively participate and assist in this, not so much as just providing policy direction, but actually being sort of involved in some of the activities that we're doing. And so I wanted to get some feedback or some thoughts as to how you guys could see that occurring.
What do you mean participation, the extent of being a kind of a visible face and
Well, I
handing or
what are you
walking,
guys thinking?
walking the streets or?
That's what I'm looking for, because in our last meeting, I was told that some of you guys enjoy just going door to door, meeting people. If you're interested in something like that, we can definitely coordinate with you and, include you in that sort of thing. If there's certain events that you're interested in participating with or helping organize, we are interested in working with you guys on that sort of thing. If none of this sounds interesting, then that's okay too. But what I wanted to find out was, two levels, from a policy standpoint, do you have any input, advice? The business ambassador program included bringing in, or I believe that was the ambassador program. I believe you mentioned you had 30 different organizations. You all reached out to separate organizations, and we would be interested in being able to incorporate those organizations as appropriate, depending on what they do and where they are and who they serve, into our activities. And we think that you guys could be very helpful in facilitating that. And again, if you guys are interested in being, not just from a policy, high level, but are interested in, boots on the ground, depends on your schedule and your interests, but, we can try to work with you on that too.
One of the things that we did, remember, was we did the business walk in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce. And we found that very beneficial. We did have assistance from CSUMB, their marketing students, who actually compiled all the data and produced a report at the end. The nice thing about it is when we go to visit the businesses, we're not city employees. So sometimes we get a different perspective from just saying we're volunteers and, we're just kind of canvassing the area and finding out, what things, are making doing business for you difficult or easy. Are there any restrictions that prohibit you from, doing what you need to do, bringing in business? I mean, some of the comments were, well, one of them was parking. And so that's when we kind of looked at different options for parking. And we got the lot at the end of the street. Some of it was just, what other things did we come up with?
There was a repeated theme of the city has been unfriendly in the past. It imposed fees and fines and regulation and process that has made things difficult. When we started the FLIP program, which maybe needs reintroducing if there's still funds for it, giving businesses a boost when they wanted to improve their facade. And this included more than paint, but it did include paint. I introduced the program to several businesses personally, and 2 or 3 of them have taken the city up on that and completed the work. The result was that some businesses look better than they used to, and they appreciated the city's boost in doing that, and commented that if they were going to paint their building before, they'd have to pay a lot of money to the city, so the city could observe the process of painting and maybe direct traffic around it or something, because they had a high permit fee before any work could begin. The permit fee was going to cost as much as the paint did. in one case. This whole approach of making business difficult was not appreciated by the people we talked to, that I talked to. So this was a welcome change, and they were ready to embrace it. One of them, I think, has backed away because he realized that he had to put all the money up first, and then get reimbursed for it. And I guess I didn't explain that well enough to him before he got started. So he hasn't done it.
Well, several businesses did. So that's,
So we did.
that's a good thing.
They did. It was a good program.
And
One of
we,
the other things too, in them walking around and talking to people was with the newsletter. Do you get the newsletter? Is the information valuable to you? Is there something else that you'd like to see in it? What I found at a couple of places was that the newsletter went to whoever was on record as the business owner or the person that, you know, hold the license, and they're not the person that reads anything or does anything with it. And, you know, if they have like an office manager or a, you know, business manager who actually, you know, works with the public and needs to know what's going on, but then that information doesn't funnel down. So, you know, that's another question that we need to make sure to ask is, you know, do we have the right person receiving those letters? Because that came up as well. You know, and I think that's what's interesting about going around talking to people is you're finding out these things that, yeah, that people would never call and say, hey, I don't have this, I don't understand this. And sometimes it's just a listening ear, if nothing else. Because when we did West Broadway, it's always interesting to me, and this is always, it's not puzzled me, but it's been in existence that way for, you know, forever and ever and ever, is that, you know, most of the businesses, we're making a shift now to more open businesses where people could walk in and, you know, get a bite to eat or things like that. But we have a lot of commercial businesses on Broadway that aren't any places that, you know, you're gonna walk in and eat or shop or buy anything with. So just trying to see, I was trying to see if some of those businesses that had been there for a long time that just, you know, like repair TVs, yeah, how they felt about the businesses there. Because a lot of them don't, you know, the sign guy does, you know, he doesn't really get foot traffic. It's the foot traffic thing, and that makes Broadway more appealing too for the community.
Yeah, I found in my experience with the city of Oakland, we have large commercial corridors and public meetings are held, and there's always a business owner or place that will say, I didn't know about it.
Mhm.
And so the way around that was to go to the business license department, just get all the businesses. You broadcast to everybody. And so they're gonna probably complain anyway. I didn't know. Well, you got a letter, you got a notice. And, you know, as for how do you melt that shopkeeper? You know, look, we had some old style wig shops that no one cared about. Liquor stores, no one cared about. TV repair places, no one cared about. But, you know, you bring them into the fold, you kind of tell them, well, this is what the city's doing, street furniture, lighting, facade treatment, permits, taxes, the whole ball of wax. And you tell them that, and then they can begin making decisions. Well, I can't afford that permit. Well, I don't want to use that palette of colors. I don't want to install that awning. You know, they begin even getting that kind of feedback. And so then they begin to say, well, you know, I've been here for 25 years. Maybe it's just time to go. And that's when things start changing. And then opportunities pop up. And then the city probably is going to come back in with, okay, well, this is the entitlement package we can provide. You know,
It's also interesting too, because we speak to the business owners, the shopkeepers and whatnot. but we don't always talk to the landlords, and we found that, yeah, many of them just, they just like getting their check, their money every month, and they don't really care what it looks like, because and in most cases, a lot of those pieces of property are owned outright, there's no mortgages on them, so they,
Yeah, the owner could be 1,000 miles away.
exactly.
But-
Or a family that's carrying it on from, someone who's passed on.
Idiot son or non-caring daughter or something. I'm just saying, this kind of reality that you get out there.
It is.
I'm sure you've seen this, or if you haven't, you will.
Especially on that corridor that's been there forever, and, a lot of things haven't changed. I'm just glad that things are moving in a different direction and really brightening up everything. I mean, I can see the changes,
I'm particularly glad about that store on the corner of Obama Way and Fremont. It's been closed for a few months.
Yeah.
But, the sign says will be open in spring of 23. Well, it's just around the corner. It's been closed for about 80 days. I'm thinking, okay, I'm like that.
The grocery store, yeah.
I want to tell you, maybe you're gonna hurry up and make that happen. That would be that's a great corner. That's high visibility, lots of traffic, but I don't know where they are.
What do you mean, Meteora?
Yeah.
yeah.
They're doing extensive.
Oh, that's gonna be, that's
Well,
major.
okay,
Yeah,
well,
it's a
so
big
they're
project.
still in the design phase, I think.
Oh, no, they're working.
Oh, they're working in there?
Oh, it's gonna be night and day.
Oh, okay, well,
I've seen some renderings, yeah, yeah,
that would be an improvement, yeah.
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 It really
Well, that's
is.
good. Glad to hear that. I didn't get a sense that there was any activity at all.
Yeah, because everything is pretty much inside. They're doing very little on the outside.
Yeah.
Are there going to be outside changes?
I think just a little bit is what I saw in some of the renderings, but I'm also. A lot of that happened before I started, and
Yeah.
I'm still a little fuzzy as to what got approved or didn't, yeah.
Yeah,
But still parking right by the sidewalk and then the building is where it is.
Yeah, they came in and they were talking about reconfiguring the parking. But again, that was a little bit ago, and they haven't come in and submitted a formal application. So we'll see.
That was a big example I can think of, because everything, Westboro looks like that was just very well done, from what I could see.
There's a lot of big, how many sites did we find that were vacant? On Broadway,
12.
12 vacant spots on Broadway, that's just like Broadway from Belmont to Fremont.
yeah, just that was probably work.
Yeah, so, there's definitely some vacant spaces there,
We need to find some good businesses.
Great apples.
Yeah,
we need water,
Yeah.
yeah,
but in the meantime, I would love to see if we could figure out a way to get more residential down there. And we have water credits allocated for West Broadway.
mixed use, yeah,
I think that the challenge is, the construction costs. And that if you try going up, it's very expensive right now, and you've got lots of little parcels, so
mhm,
you have to get some parcel assembly going on. It's, it's not impossible, but there's some challenges in there.
and then parking for the residential, yeah,
Yeah,
that's another
It's
one.
gotta be a big package to put it together, share.
Yeah.
We small landlord doesn't want to fuss with it.
exactly. The city did purchase those lots, that's now parking lot 1, and it's on paper, it's parking lot 2, but really it's just some kind of chopped up pavement and an old foundation on the other side of Del Monte. And there's gonna be some significant costs associated with you guys are familiar with the lot at Contra Costa and Broadway, I'm assuming,
Where is that now?
right across the street from Deja Vu.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
the old car lot
Is that a Jose's restaurant?
across the street from Jose's.
Yeah.
So part of the lot we resurfaced and put some striping down, but the other half of it is in really bad shape.
Yeah.
And it's probably gonna have to get just ripped out and done completely with new base rock and everything. So that's an expensive project. The one across the street's an expensive project. But we've also got a few, potential developers, which, I don't want to share too much until we've actually got, once we get an application in, it becomes public record, until then, being discreet, but,
Well, if you're contemplating developing it, then spending money on building a parking lot so you can tear it out and develop it doesn't make a lot of sense.
we're planning on keeping those lots as parking at least until the West Broadway parking garage gets built, which is a big project. Because the concept is to put a new parking garage at a library where the courtyard is right now. Which means the first step to building that garage is finding a new place for our courtyard. And then we have to build a new parking lot. It's between, let's see, I think Hillsdale and Calaveras, the next one down. And over on Olympia. So do you know where the tower is? Yeah, right there, that's it.
Oh,
The tower was built to dry out fire hoses
No,
back in the day.
how big is the site where the courtyard is? How many acres, give or take? 10 acres, 12 acres? Bigger?
No,
No.
something like that, no. I think I would say 1.5 or 2.
It's small.
Yeah.
Well, that is so. The cost goes bigger than that.
It's bigger than water.
So you're talking a decade before that process gets underway.
We might be underway in less than a decade,
All right.
but we're not gonna.
Before
have
it
a
gets
par-
done.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's gonna be, I think saying 10 years to actually see a parking garage there. Yeah, if we see a parking garage there in 10 years, that's, I think the timelines we're looking at,
Yeah, so you got some pieces to move around.
yeah.
money to find. It will really depend a lot on how well the development that in the former corridor is able to move forward. Because we need that additional tax base in order to help fund some of these things,
So we're talking campus.
Campus town, Grand Hyatt,
Mhm.
know,
Yeah, Grand
that
Hyatt.
Oh, yeah, is that moving or is that?
Yes.
yeah, yeah, the and done again, yeah, so.
Well, I know the housing's going up,
no, the hill, remember that, when you go up to, yeah,
but that's all housing.
no, you're going towards the other way. Just going up towards the general gym,
Yes,
and they've cut in new roads, not that,
made new roads for more housing.
oh, I thought that was some town,
The hotel, so you know where the clubhouse is,
right?
and there's the parking lot. And the hotel goes right across from that parking lot.
Yeah,
So it's basically in the area, it's kind of like a big kind of dirt chopped up area.
you drive through it on the way to the
Yeah,
clubhouse.
it's up higher.
Yeah,
If you're taking the floor in, the driveway to come down to the parking lot, if you look to your left and you look down, it's going to be in that area down there. So it will be barely visible, if visible at all from the road. If you're in a high profile vehicle, maybe you can see the very top of it over the.
over and roll to get to. the
Exactly.
clubhouse. So.
And
when-
that
When do
becomes-
they expect to get beyond concept?
They've got their approvals and they're trying to pull grading permits right now, so they can get started before March.
That's gonna move
Yeah,
fairly quickly.
we've waited
That's a
15
nice
years
area.
for that too.
Yeah,
They're on a timeline because they need to
Yes.
get started before the raptors start building their nests in the spring. Otherwise, they have to do all sorts of surveys, and if there's a nest, and they can't touch that tree, and
We've
so.
heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's happening with the Veterans Hall there on,
the American Legion.
the American
Oh,
Legion?
boy.
They're doing some gangbuster work out
A
there.
new hall for them,
Yeah.
and a new America's Tire Company is going in on the rest of the lot.
Are they taking out the other two buildings?
I believe so,
Did
yeah.
happen?
I think so. Actually, I'm not sure about that. That was completely approved and through planning before us, so.
Okay, yeah, I know you kind of came to midstream.
Yeah,
They put up their fencing and then stopped.
Well, no, they laid a pad back there.
yeah,
The hotel.
Yes.
that'll be the America's Tire Fund.
Oh, okay.
So financially viable, but maybe they are because of.
Well, that's an interesting area there. I mean, with the veterans,
Could be.
it could be, yeah. I mean, I see some happen with those railroad tracks. You know, the muscle car stop, you know, I can look at a few things that we need to change up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. this-
No, that's fine. I mean, well, it's not on the agenda, but,
So back to the ambassador. Discussion.
I'm sorry, we drifted a bit.
Bring it back, we'll bring it back. Yeah, so, like I said, we did that business walk, it was good. We were only able to do a small portion because the other group did part of North Fremont and Monterey, and then I think they extended into Seaside, but I'm not quite sure. And it takes all day because you went out in teams of 2s and 3s. And is that something, we continue to do with the Chamber of Commerce? I mean, I do. I like the fact that they kind of do a lot of the organization for it, and then they bring extra help, and then again, partner with the university to bring the students in. I've done it before in other areas besides Seaside, and we actually had some of the students, asking the questions too, because it gave them, a little bit of experience in that. And I think the ownership, the business owners liked the fact that we were getting young people involved.
so is that sort of thing, something that you guys would be interested in doing more of?
I certainly would, sure.
I'm willing to go again. I'm not quite sure how I'll answer questions about where we've been for the last year, but we'll think of ways to respond to that. We told them about all the things we were going to be doing, and then we dropped the ball for a year, but.
COVID's been,
Well, this was after that.
No, well, we've had a lot of changes, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that we didn't want to do them or just kind of said we were gonna do them, knowing that we weren't gonna do them. It
No,
was not intentional, so it was just
Yes.
like,
yes.
we've had changes and, different priorities, pop up sometimes. And you have to, take a different course. But, if we do at least do the one with the Chamber of Commerce. Because that one is in place already. Then, and then I guess we could continue with doing, our one-off kind of just visiting businesses as you're able to.
Mhm.
And then just letting, letting us all know which ones we've got to so that we don't, double up on things. Or different areas, I don't know.
So, expect staff to coordinate that. Do you want to coordinate that?
Well, I'll coordinate with the Chamber of Commerce and we'll see when they have that on their calendar. Because they calendar that every year, so it's probably on there already, usually in the spring.
It's more comfortable to do it in the spring.
Yes. Yeah, not in the rain. Not like last Saturday. It was wet. Yeah, so we can do that. We can start with that and see where that goes. Anything else as far as the ambassador program? So we've addressed what we need to do with the newsletter. And then,
And the newsletter is also in Spanish now.
so that's fair.
And Olivia, you've got everybody's email address? Okay, great. So make sure Laura gets that. And she can get the copy of that newsletter to everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, that was the main thing I wanted to talk about with you guys today. We are essentially rebuilding from the ground up here. And so, I was kind of just thinking about it, going like, I've been here the longest and I've been here almost 6 months. So, out of everybody who's a staff member, so,
6 months and you're an old timer.
yeah, right. Serious one. You don't have to look, I can hear major roads and not look at a map to know where they are now. Still working, boys, okay.
Yay for Kimball though. Oh, my God. Night and day. Oh, I have to drive up that road every day, so, yeah.
Yeah, we still have I think it was Noche Buena over on the other side of town over there. I found a scary piece of road.
Yeah.
But anyways, so good. How are we going to coordinate this? So you're going to talk to
I'll
people
go
at
to
the
the Chamber
chamber?
of Commerce, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm. And then I will find out when they have that calendar, and so that we can, and then we can, solicit some more bodies as well that want to help. Besides just, the commissioners.
okay. And we can also, does the newsletter have the information about the community meeting on Wednesday?
Didn't.
Okay, then can you get that information to everybody on the commission as well? I think it's gonna be mostly a listening session, because it's our first one that we've done in, past year, and so, again, just wanna see, hey, hi, we're so-and-so, and how's it going? So
And
that,
for them to know that your office is right there
Mhm.
in the middle of everything, that they don't have to come all the way over here to find somebody.
right. Yeah,
So I don't think they know what's housed inside.
That's
Seaside
especially
Creation.
useful for the.
Are they surprised?
Yeah, for example, there's an auto, supply store, and they're like, I'm thinking about doing some changes to my business, and I had talked to the planner previously, I'm like, just come down the street where the planner's right there, and she did go, like, the next day, so.
It's that kind of where things are, and that's a goodwill gesture. Bridge the gaps.
is that-
Supply the pizza for the group.
We're gonna do something else, we're gonna do some cheese and crackers and some spoiler dinner.
Just thinking about
David?
making them welcome.
Yeah.
And comfortable, nothing makes people chatty and being comfortable.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
All right, anything else on that? Yeah. Seeing nothing else, I'll call for adjournment. What is it? 4:45 PM.
4:45.
so
Yeah,
close to-
I just lost my phone.
Yeah.
Or reliable. All right.
And where did you go?